everyone, welcome back to another Monday 10-minute training. I am Dr. Rob Van Bergen, and today we're going to be talking about chronic fatigue syndrome. Now, chronic fatigue syndrome, known as CFS, is a serious and often long-lasting illness, and it keeps people from doing their usual activities. It makes physical and mental exertion very challenging. Symptoms will often include things like trouble thinking, severe tiredness, and those kind of are the dominant ones, brain fog, things like that. However, it's also often confused with fibromyalgia. So many doctors will say it's the same thing. You have fibromyalgia, you have CFS. It's all in one. Now, this is sort of true. Like there's some overlap for sure. They have very similar conditions. They feature body aches and persistent fatigue in both. But in fibromyalgia, really, the widespread body pain, specifically in those localized areas, they tend to dominate. And in CFS and chronic fatigue syndrome, fatigue is the dominant symptom with less pain and discomfort. The fatigue is the thing that bothers people the most. Now, this creates a bit of confusion when it comes to treatment as well. And resolution of these conditions, when looking at different treatment types, it's often going to require a combination of different therapies depending on what exactly the dominant one is, fibromyalgia or CFS. However, I don't typically see a difference in the way we approach microcurrent. And in fact, our microcurrent protocol works across the board on both conditions. And it's kind of the same protocol. There is something that can focus on the chronic fatigue syndrome itself, and I'm going to focus on that here as well. I'm just going to share my screen so that you can see a few little slides I threw together to go with this. Okay, and let's do this here. All right, so first and foremost, chronic fatigue syndrome with microcurrent is going to actually involve going away from microcurrent. And that's not the only case, so bear with me to the next slide here as well. Because it involves so much brain work, which is where a lot of this fatigue is felt and generated from, we kind of need to be looking at either using the Hache or the Hache in Hache mode. And I do have my Hache handy here as well, so I'll use that one to demo this protocol. But this is essentially the protocol known as gamma energizer. And so what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the device. If you're using a Hache and it's connected, then you don't have to do anything else. But if you are using the Hache, you have to press the mode button to switch to Hache mode. So you want the light next to Hache to be working. Then you're going to set the device to 32 to 45 hertz. This is a gamma brainwave frequency, and it's most effective for cleansing the brain. Okay, so you'll see with the Hache, you've got the lights. The important thing here is if you're doing something like on the brain with the Hache, make sure that you press it firm, not too hard that it hurts, but firmly to the third eye. You don't want to be looking into the lights directly because of the infrared light, which we cannot detect with our eyes and therefore don't blink when looking at. So it's just not good for our eyes. So you put it flush up to the head and you increase the power to maximum. Now, this is going to deliver the current through to the pineal gland in the brain, and it's going to saturate the brain with the gamma waves, which will essentially help to clean the brain. And this can help with fatigue, and it can also help with brain fog and other things associated with that as well. So it really is an effective treatment. You kind of want to just hold this in place on the third eye for 10 to 20 minutes. Just try and relax as you're going through. This is kind of the key treatment method with this. Now, that's not to say that if you have chronic fatigue syndrome, you need to use this treatment in order to get results. The tried and true protocol would be our fibromyalgia / chronic fatigue syndrome protocol that you can find in Current Medicine 3rd edition. I've got a screenshot of the protocol here. You can see these different treatment points, and a lot of these actually line up with those high points of pain associated with fibromyalgia. Now, again, these conditions are often lumped together. And although I do believe that they are different, the energy channels in the body mean that they don't need to be treated differently. You can treat them with the same protocol to get this effect. So, if you want to check out this full advanced protocol, it is step by step broken down on page 87 of Current Medicine, third edition. You can do this simply with microcurrent. You don't need the Sanachi or the Viachi, but you can focus on CFS in particular with those tools as well, with the previous protocol that I just went through. But if you follow this protocol, just remember that the way current medicine is designed to be used is you start with point one and then you see what results you get. And then you move to point two and you see what results you get from that, and so on and so forth. You don't need to complete all of these in one session. And if you find that one of these points works for you, that is the way to go. It's really listed from the most effective to the least effective, but all of these points have been used over time to help treat this condition. And usually it's finding which of the points is going to be the one that your body needs to clear the energy pathways and help deal with the condition. Okay. So hopefully you found this helpful, guys. Thank you again for joining me for another Monday 10-minute training. I will see you next week, and we'll dive into yet another microcurrent topic. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.